15 Forgotten Pop One-Hit Wonders from the 1980s you need to hear again. These weren't just songs. They were moments that took over radio, MTV, and every car ride, and then, almost overnight, disappeared. Not because they weren't good, but because the 80s moved fast. And if you didn't evolve, you got left behind. Let's go back. Number 15, Tony Basil, Mickey, 1981. The second that beat kicks in, you already know what's coming. It didn't matter where you were, parties, sports games, school events, this song had a way of instantly pulling people in. And a big part of that wasn't just the music, it was the image, the cheerleader outfit, the choreography, the energy. MTV was just starting to shape pop culture, and Tony Basil understood visuals before most artists even realized how important they were. But here's where things shifted. The song became so big, so recognizable, that it almost trapped her in that one identity. Because once the world sees you as that character, it's hard to come back as anything else. When the follow-up records didn't hit the same way, the industry moved on quickly. And if you've ever had one moment that defined you so strongly, you know how hard it is to escape it. Number 14, Dexis Midnight Runners. Come On Eileen, 1982. This song doesn't just start, it builds. Slow at first, almost like it's setting a scene. Then suddenly, everything explodes. And that's why it stuck. Because it felt like a moment, not just a track. Crowds didn't just listen to this song, they experienced it. But here's the part most people don't realize. Dexys Midnight Runners weren't chasing pop success. They had a completely different artistic direction. And sometimes, when a hit happens accidentally, it's harder to recreate on purpose. When the spotlight came, they didn't fully adapt to it. And the industry doesn't wait. Because in the 80s, if you didn't follow up fast, you got replaced. And just like that, one of the biggest songs of the decade became their defining, and only, mainstream moment. Number 13, Nena, 99 Luftballons, 1983. Even if you don't speak German, you feel this song. That melody carries emotion in a way that crosses language completely, and that's rare. It wasn't just a hit in one place, it was global. Which, in the early 80s, was much harder to achieve than it is today. But here's the challenge. Breaking into the American market consistently as a non-English act? That was a completely different battle. Because one hit could open the door, but staying inside required something else entirely. And when the follow-up didn't connect the same way in the US, the momentum faded there, even if it stayed alive elsewhere. And it shows you something important. Success isn't always about talent. Sometimes, it's about where the industry decides to keep looking. Number 12, Aha. Take On Me, 1985. That opening synth, that iconic video, and of course, that high note. This song wasn't just popular, it was revolutionary visually. MTV played it non-stop, and suddenly, Aha was everywhere. But here's what most people get wrong. They weren't actually a one-hit wonder globally. They had multiple hits in Europe and beyond, but in the United States, this was the peak. And it shows you how different markets can completely change an artist's legacy. Because depending on where you're listening from, An artist can either feel legendary, or like they vanished after one moment. And that contrast? That's something a lot of artists still deal with today. Number 11, Thomas Dolby. She Blinded Me with Science, 1982. This song didn't sound like anything else at the time. It was quirky, smart, slightly weird, in a good way, and that's exactly why it worked. Because in a decade full of polished pop, standing out was everything. But here's the catch. Different gets attention, but repeating that uniqueness? That's much harder. Because once the audience associates you with a very specific style, they expect it again. And if you change too much, they lose interest. If you don't change enough, they get bored. And Thomas Dolby got caught right in the middle of that balance. And if you've ever tried to follow up something that worked perfectly, you know how difficult that can be. Number 10, Modern English. I Melt With You, 1982. This song feels like a memory, even if you weren't alive when it dropped. That soft, emotional, almost dreamy sound, it hits differently. Over time, it actually became bigger than it was originally. Featured in movies, commercials, playlists, it kept coming back. But here's what happened in real time. The song had its moment, but the band couldn't match that same emotional connection again on a larger scale. And when one record resonates that deeply, everything else gets compared to it. And usually, nothing wins that comparison. Number 9, Soft Cell. Tainted Love, 1981.
Sometimes I feel love.
This song doesn't just play, it lingers. That minimal beat, that haunting synth, that emotional delivery, it felt darker than most pop at the time. And that's exactly why it stood out.
Run away, I've got to.
While a lot of 80s pop was bright and upbeat, this one felt raw, almost uncomfortable in a way that made you keep listening.
Run away,
But here's something a lot of people didn't realize. This wasn't even their original song. It was a cover. And sometimes, covers become so powerful that they completely redefine an artist's identity, which sounds like a good thing. Until it becomes the only thing people associate you with. Because after a hit like this, everything else feels like a follow-up, instead of a moment.
I don't pray that way.
And when the next songs didn't hit the same emotional nerve, the spotlight started fading. And if you've ever been known for one thing so strongly, you know how hard it is to change that narrative.
Touch me, baby, tame.
Number 8, Baltimore Tarzan Boy, 1985. The second that chant comes in, you're locked in. It's fun, it's energetic, it doesn't take itself too seriously, and that's exactly why it worked. This song felt like pure escapism, no deep meaning, no heavy message, just a vibe you couldn't ignore. But here's where things get interesting. Behind the scenes, Baltimore wasn't a traditional band. It was more of a project, built around a moment rather than a long-term vision. And that matters, because in pop music, one hit can happen fast, but sustaining that success requires structure, direction, and consistency. And without that, momentum disappears just as quickly as it came. And if you've ever seen something blow up overnight, you know how quickly it can fade without a plan behind it. Number 7, Dead or Alive. You Spin Me Round, Like a Record, 1985. High energy, bold personality, impossible to ignore. This song didn't just play, it demanded attention. And a big part of that was the presence of the band itself. They looked different, sounded different, felt different, and for a moment, that was everything. But here's the reality about standing out that much. It comes with pressure, because once the audience locks onto a specific image or sound, they expect you to keep delivering it exactly the same way. And when trends start to shift, which they always do, that same uniqueness can suddenly feel out of place.
You look like you're out to find, open up your eyes.
And if you've ever built your identity around a moment, you know how hard it is when the moment passes. Number 6, Kajigoo Too Shy, 1983. Smooth, clean, effortless. This song had that polished 80s sound that just worked, and the bass line alone, instantly recognizable. But here's something a lot of people overlook. Sometimes the biggest threat to success isn't outside pressure, it's internal, because right after their breakthrough, tensions inside the group started to build. Creative differences, direction issues, and eventually, it led to a split. And when that happens early, it kills momentum faster than anything, because while the audience is still paying attention, the group itself is falling apart. And once that disconnect happens, it's almost impossible to recover. It creates a tension, but it doesn't always build longevity, because once the shock factor fades, you're left with the question, what comes next? And if that next moment doesn't hit just as hard, the audience moves on, fast. Number 5, Frankie Goes to Hollywood. Relax, 1983. This wasn't just a song, it was controversy, banned by the BBC, which only made people want it more. And suddenly, it was everywhere, because nothing spreads faster than something people aren't supposed to hear. But here's the thing about controversy, it creates attention. But it doesn't always build longevity, because once the shock factor fades, you're left with the question, what comes next? And if that next moment doesn't hit just as hard, the audience moves on, fast. Number 4, Rockwell, Somebody's Watching Me, 1984. That hook, that paranoia, that feeling like you're not alone, everything about this song just stuck. But let's be honest, there's another reason it hit so hard. Michael Jackson on the chorus. And that changes everything, because when you have one of the biggest artists in the world on your track, it elevates the moment instantly, but it also creates a shadow, because everything you do after that gets compared to that level, and nothing feels the same. Number 3, Men Without Hats. The Safety Dance, 1982. We can dance if we want to. You already finished it. That's how powerful this song is. It was different, slightly strange, completely memorable, and that uniqueness made it stand out immediately. But here's the challenge with novelty, it sticks, and once people define you as that fun, different song, it becomes hard to shift into something else. Because the audience doesn't always want change. They want the feeling you gave them the first time, and when that feeling isn't recreated, they move on. And we can dress real neat from our hearts to our feet and surprise them with a victory. Number 2, Falco, Rock Me Amadeus, 1985. This was something completely different. Part pop, part rap, part classical influence. And somehow, it worked. Not just locally, globally. But here's the reality, that kind of crossover success is hard to maintain, because it depends on multiple audiences connecting at once. And when even one of those audiences moves on, the whole balance shifts, and suddenly, what once felt universal feels harder to repeat. Number 1, A Flock of Seagulls. I Ran So Far Away, 1982. This song feels like the 80s, the synths, the atmosphere, the space. It's more than music, it's a vibe, and for a moment, they captured something unforgettable. But here's what makes this number 1. It's not just that the song was big, it's that it never really left. Even today, the second it plays, you recognize it instantly. And that's the strange thing about one-hit wonders. The artist might fade, but the song, it can last forever.